We're going to be having a look at how to add a really cool addition to this floating group side or this side panel pop out that we've already built. Now it's a very simple one, but it adds a lot to the UX and the experience for your users. And that is to allow the users to click away from the actual group itself that they're viewing to then close it so that they don't have to always click up in this top hand corner. What they can actually do is, as we've just seen there, they can click into it. And then if we click anywhere in this group here or in this section here, it's going to close the pop out or the side panel pop out for us. So a really, really simple video. Hopefully you enjoy. And if you have any questions or there's anything particular that you want to see, please let me know in the comments. All right, so let's get into this video. This is a relatively straightforward one where we are going to be adding in a click to close for the side panel that we have built out. So what we want to do is open up the floating group that we've created already, which is this one, floating group transaction. We can see here that we've extended the floating group out so that we've got this color there. I was just playing with the colors, so I've put a border on that, but we can get rid of the border. And we can obviously see this is our transaction in there. I might even change that just to be all white. That's the transaction. And then we've got our floating group, and we want the user to be able to basically come to this floating group, click anywhere in that blank space, and that will then close the floating group for them. So what we want to do, first of all, is get rid of this padding that sits around or within the floating group. So we're going to go floating group transaction over to layout, and we're going to get rid of all that padding so that our current sort of side panel pop out is edge to edge, right up in the corners. That's exactly what we want. Perfect. So now we click on group transaction view, go down to margins and add 12 margin, just so we can get that sort of look back where it's popped off the edges. But for any other group that we put within this floating group, it's going to still have that spacing around the side. Now we search for a group, grab the group and drop it anywhere into the floating group. It's going to sit all the way along the top or on the bottom, depending on where you drop it. Click back onto floating group transaction, and then go over to the container layout under layout and change it to row. So instead of having an item on top, we want it side by side. We're going to call this group click away, or group click away. We can check the vertical alignment. We want that to be top to bottom. So a vertical stretch, as it's actually called. So this is now covering the rest of the space in this floating group. We can click across to group transaction view. We can do a vertical stretch for that as well. And basically now all that we need to do is click on group, click away, go across to appearance, workflow, and we're going to say when this is clicked, animate an element. The element is floating group transaction. Well, actually, we've already built in the animation. So we're going to get rid of that, and we're just going to copy the close animation from over here. So we go back to click on the close button that we've got for our existing floating pop out. And we're just going to copy that completely, paste it, and we're going to change the name for transaction view close pop out to be transaction view click away close. Just fix that last bit up. Perfect. Now we can jump back into design, click on group, click away again. We're just going to copy the name and then go back to our workflows. And this way, currently we haven't changed anything. We've just copy and pasted our existing workflow for closing this floating group. But now we can go in and we can change the element. So we just click on the element that we've got, and we can change that element to group, click away, so that now when someone clicks away from that group, it's going to close this entire group for us, as in the exact same way that we've already set up for this close button here. So we can go ahead and test that. Let's jump into the preview. All right, so we've got all of our payments listed there. We can click on that payment. We can then see the transaction itself. And if I click anywhere in this space, it then closes exactly as we had before. Opens back up again. We can click to close normally, or we can click in this blank space here and it'll close for us. And if you want to be really particular with this and allow the user to click even in this gap here, we can click back onto group transaction view, go across to layout, and we can get rid of our left margin there, just so it's basically everywhere else in this group that you click, maybe not in those top corners. Yeah, it's going to allow us to click away and close that group. So hopefully that helped in, progressing along with this build and was quite an easy part of this build. I'm going to continue building out sections for this floating group and add some really cool things like a sub menu in here so you can move from different, showing different bits of data for this particular transaction that we're looking at. So make sure to check out that video on the channel as well.